All right, let's get into it, because we need to have a real talk. Now, men, we know y'all love a lot of things, but there's something specific, something that gets us thinking about a woman long after the night is over. No, it ain't just about looks. It ain't even about the how it happened. I'm talking about the what happens next. Y'all feel me? I'm talking about the women who know how to handle the aftermath. After the intimacy has passed and the physical connection fades, the moments that follow often speak louder than what happened in the bedroom. One of the most significant things that can happen after sex is the effort to maintain connection. It's easy to forget that sex isn't just a physical act, but a deeply emotional one. And if you think a man is just looking for a quick release, think again. What happens after matters, sometimes more than anything else. A woman who knows how to keep the energy alive after sex can leave a lasting impression that goes far beyond the sheets. When the lights go down and everything slows, men aren't just looking for a momentary physical release. They are looking for something that continues to build. There's something special about a woman who knows how to hold the energy, even when the moment has passed. If a woman simply rolls over, grabs her phone, or tucks herself in and doesn't acknowledge the intimacy she just shared, it leaves a coldness in the air. But when she takes the time to turn back, offer a smile, or maybe even lean in for a kiss, that small but meaningful gesture shows that the bond didn't end when the act did. It says this wasn't just about me getting what I wanted. This was about us sharing something real. A kiss after sex isn't just a kiss. It's an extension of the intimacy. It's a reaffirmation that the connection was mutual, not just a transaction. It lets a man know he's not just a body to fill space, but someone worth acknowledging. It's a simple act that shows care, and more importantly, it keeps the flow of the connection moving. A man may forget the exact moment things peaked, but he'll remember how you made him feel afterwards. Did you make him feel like he was just a momentary escape? Or did you make him feel like he was someone who mattered? What happens after sex can also set the tone for how a man feels about the overall experience. There's a difference between a woman who takes the time to check in, whether it's asking how he feels or if he's comfortable, and someone who immediately turns away. It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but something as simple as a soft inquiry like, "How are you feeling?" can make all the difference. It tells a man that you care about his emotional well-being, not just the physical act you just shared. In a world where people often feel disconnected or alone, that brief moment of validation, of showing that you want to know how he's feeling, can create a bond that goes deeper than what was physically shared. Some men have a tendency to retreat into their own thoughts after sex, often processing the event in their own way. But when a woman makes an effort to check in or just offers her warmth, it helps create a sense of closeness that isn't confined to just a moment of release. The woman who asks, "Do you want to talk?" or "Is there anything you need?" provides space for vulnerability. And vulnerability, especially after an intimate encounter, is something that builds a connection like no other. It's no longer just about what happened between the sheets. It's about two people interacting in a way that allows them to be open, honest, and real with each other. Even the smallest gestures can mean the world. A simple hand on his chest, a quiet cuddle, or a gentle caress of the back can make a man feel secure in the relationship, not just in the act. It's not about turning everything into a deep conversation or creating an emotional scene, but it's about showing that the moment you shared together is significant enough to deserve some care afterwards. When you make that effort, it tells him that you're not just about the physical. You run it for the emotional connection too, and that's the kind of energy that will stick in his mind long after the night has ended. If you think about it, this simple practice speaks volumes. It's easy to forget that the moments after sex matter just as much, if not more than the moments during. The way a woman engages, stays present, and continues to show warmth or care, creates a space where the intimacy is allowed to linger. It turns what could have been a fleeting encounter into something that feels more meaningful, more connected. This is the type of woman a man remembers, the one who didn't just leave when the sex ended, but stayed for the aftermath. And it's that kind of presence that keeps a man thinking about her long after she's gone. A woman who recognizes the power of those post-intimate moments is the one who turns a single night into a lasting impression. Because here's the truth. What happens next defines the relationship as much as the act itself. A woman who engages with a man, who acknowledges the closeness and tenderness that comes after, who simply stays present and caring, sets herself apart from the ones who simply disappear into the night. In the end, men remember the ones who didn't just treat sex as a transaction, but as an experience worth nurturing. They remember the women who left a lasting impression not only with their bodies, but with their hearts. And that happens when the connection continues long after the physical release. So ladies, the next time you find yourself in that moment, remember, it's not just about what happens in the heat of the moment. It's about what you do after too. When it comes to deepening any relationship, emotional intimacy is a crucial element. It's not just about the physical act, but about the emotional connection that follows. And it's something that men obsess over more than they let on. The woman who understands this and takes the time to connect on a deeper level, both before and after sex, is the one who stays in a man's mind long after the encounter is over. It's the subtle art of asking questions, showing genuine interest, and fostering an environment where emotional vulnerability can thrive, that creates something much stronger than just a fleeting physical experience. Think about it. Sex is a shared experience, but without emotional intimacy, it's just that, an experience. It's the emotional bond that turns it into something memorable, something worth holding on to. After sex, many men don't just want to roll over and forget about the whole thing. They want to know that what just happened had meaning, that it was shared, and that it wasn't just a one-sided physical release. Women who take the time to build that emotional connection, to ensure that there's something more between them than just the physical, have the power to leave a lasting impact. Emotional intimacy doesn't always have to be a deep heart-to-heart conversation, but the mere act of showing that you care can make all the difference. Asking questions like, "How did that feel for you?" Or "Is there something more you'd like to explore?" shows that you're interested in more than just the momentary satisfaction of the encounter. It signals that you're invested in your partner's feelings and wants, and that you want to make the experience mutually fulfilling. Men are often raised with the belief that they must be stoic, that they can't show too much vulnerability. But when a woman opens that door by asking how he's feeling or what he enjoyed most, she's creating an opportunity for him to be vulnerable and emotionally present. What many men don't realize is that after sex, they often crave emotional intimacy just as much as the physical. The man who is constantly worried about performance, who keeps his emotions in check, can let his guard down in these moments when a woman shows genuine care. It's not about pressuring him for deep emotional confessions right after sex, but rather giving him a space where he feels safe to share. The woman who understands this and asks, "How are you doing?" or "What did you enjoy the most?" is a woman who knows that the physical is just one layer of the experience. It's about making sure that both parties feel heard and validated emotionally as well as physically. Some women might believe that a man just wants to be left alone after sex, to retreat into his own space or fall asleep. But in reality, many men appreciate the opportunity to connect on a deeper level, to talk about the experience of what they felt. It might not always come in the form of deep conversation, But sometimes it's just a simple act of acknowledging that the connection you've just shared was more than just about sex. By engaging in light conversation or offering praise, a woman can communicate that she values the bond beyond just the physical release. Whether it's a simple compliment or asking how they're feeling in that moment, it creates a space for continued connection and intimacy. This emotional closeness is something that men are drawn to and often crave, even if they don't always voice it. And let's not forget the impact of sharing vulnerability with each other. Emotional intimacy thrives on openness, and when both people feel safe enough to share their true selves, it creates a deeper connection. Men who feel they can express themselves without fear of judgment or rejection often become more emotionally available, not just during sex, but in the relationship as a whole. When a woman is attuned to his emotions, when she creates space for him to express his thoughts and feelings, it fosters a connection that goes beyond the physical. This is the kind of intimacy that men often long for, but may struggle to articulate. The act of emotional intimacy after sex can also strengthen trust between a couple. The vulnerability shared during those moments, whether it's a brief conversation or simply offering comfort, is what solidifies the bond. A woman who asks questions like, "What are your needs moving forward? How can I make you feel more comfortable?" shows that she values more than just the immediate moment. She cares about how he feels both during and after the experience, and is invested in ensuring that their connection continues to grow. This doesn't just create a positive atmosphere after sex. It enhances the overall dynamic of the relationship. The emotional intimacy that comes after sex also creates a sense of reassurance for both parties. For men, this can be incredibly powerful because it shows that the relationship isn't just about the physicality of sex, but about emotional connection too. By creating a space for emotional dialogue, the woman signals that she's interested in knowing him on a deeper level, which not only strengthens the bond, but builds a foundation of trust that can carry over into the relationship long term. Moreover, emotional intimacy fosters a sense of security. Men, like women, want to feel loved and appreciated, and knowing that their partner cares about their feelings after the fact creates a secure environment where both people can thrive. For many men, emotional intimacy doesn't always come easily, but when a woman initiates these moments, whether through a soft question or by simply showing care, it lets him know that his emotional well-being is just as important as the physical. It encourages him to open up more, be more vulnerable, and ultimately, to be more present in the relationship. Ultimately, the woman who is committed to fostering emotional intimacy, both before and after sex, is the one who will leave an impression. It's not about grand gestures or long conversations, but about the little moments of care that make a man feel seen and heard. This deeper connection is what makes men obsessed with those women who understand the value of emotional intimacy after sex. The physical is just one layer, but the emotional, the connection that grows when both parties feel safe, heard, and cared for, that's what sticks. In relationships, it's often the smallest gestures that lead to the most profound impact. When it comes to deepening emotional intimacy after sex, little acts of affection and care can speak volumes. Men are drawn to women who understand the power of these simple gestures, not because they expect grandiose actions, but because they show genuine care and connection. After sex, many men find themselves needing reassurance, comfort, and affirmation that the intimacy shared was not just physical, but emotional as well. These small yet meaningful gestures, whether it's a tender touch or a few kind words, are what stay with him and make him obsess over a woman long after the encounter is over. The power of a gentle touch cannot be underestimated. A simple hand resting on his chest, a caress down his arm, or even the warmth of your body next to his as you both relax, can be the kind of reassurance that men crave after the physical intimacy has subsided. It's easy to assume that sex is just about the physical act, but for many men, it's the emotional connection that follows which deepens their affection. When a woman stays close, offers soft, affectionate touches, or simply presses her body against his, it signals that the emotional bond is just as important as the physical one. It's a way of showing that the connection doesn't end when the sex does, that the warmth between two people continues to burn even after the heat of the moment has cooled. The small touch of a hand or the warmth of your embrace doesn't need to be prolonged, but its impact is undeniable. A gentle caress after sex is a way to ground the experience, to create a sense of safety and tenderness in the aftermath. These small gestures reinforce the idea that the relationship isn't just about using each other for physical pleasure. It's about two people sharing a deep, emotional experience together. This doesn't have to be a grand romantic gesture, but simply a natural and heartfelt expression of closeness that can help a man feel emotionally secure. It's often these small but meaningful moments that stay with a man long after the sex has ended. When a woman offers this kind of simple affection, it creates a bond that grows stronger with time. Another powerful yet simple gesture that leaves a lasting impression is offering verbal affirmation. Men, like anyone, need to feel valued, and a well-timed compliment or affirmation can mean the world to them. After sex, a woman who takes the time to say something kind, whether it's complimenting his performance, telling him how much she enjoyed the experience, or just saying, "I'm glad we shared this together," helps to reinforce the positive emotions associated with the encounter. It shows that the experience was not just about physical satisfaction, but about connection, enjoyment, and mutual respect. Men may not always express it, but hearing that they were appreciated for their effort, and that the experience meant something to the other person, is incredibly important. It's a small but powerful way to make a man feel seen and validated. Many men are often hesitant to express their emotions or may feel vulnerable after the intimacy has passed. A simple affirming statement lets him know that the relationship goes beyond just the bedroom. It reassures him that he's not being judged, that he hasn't just been a fleeting moment of pleasure, but someone worthy of acknowledgement. Verbal affirmations can take many forms, whether it's saying, "You're amazing," "I'm so glad we did this," or even something as simple as, "I'm glad you're here." These words provide the emotional connection that is just as valuable as the physical act itself. Men, particularly those who may not always be open about their feelings, deeply appreciate this reassurance. It's something they often carry with them, replaying those affirmations in their minds long after the encounter is over. What often gets overlooked is how much these small acts of reassurance contribute to the overall atmosphere of the relationship. When a woman gives these kinds of affirmations after sex, it reinforces a sense of emotional safety and trust, which is essential in any relationship. It shows that she is invested in not just the physical connection, but in making sure that her partner feels valued emotionally. This not only strengthens the bond between the two, but also sets the foundation for a relationship that's built on mutual respect, care, and understanding. These small gestures are the subtle threads that weave the fabric of a strong emotional connection that continues to grow long after the night is over. Then there's the quiet power of just being present. After sex, many men are in a vulnerable state, and the simple act of not rushing to pull away or fill the silence with distractions can be incredibly powerful. The quiet presence of a woman after sex, whether it's holding hands, resting her head on his shoulder, or simply staying close, can make a man feel emotionally supported and cared for. It's often the silence, the shared comfort of just being in the moment together, that can be more meaningful than anything that's said. Sometimes men don't need words. They just need the security of knowing that the intimacy wasn't just a one-time thing, but that it's part of a deeper, ongoing connection. Being present isn't just about physical proximity. It's about emotional availability. A woman who stays emotionally open after sex, who doesn't retreat or become distant, but rather stays engaged, creates a space where the man can feel emotionally safe. When a woman doesn't rush to leave or pull away emotionally, it signals to the man that the connection between them is not just physical, but deeply emotional as well. Being present means offering quiet reassurance, sharing warmth, and letting him know that the bond you've shared is valuable and worth nurturing. It doesn't need to be forced or contrived. It's simply about being attuned to the moment and making sure the emotional connection remains alive. Sometimes all it takes is a brief touch, a compliment, or a quiet moment of togetherness to create an atmosphere where emotional intimacy can thrive. These small gestures are often the things that men remember long after the encounter is over. It's these acts that make them think this was more than just a physical experience. This was something real. The woman who knows the value of these little moments has the ability to leave a lasting impression. And it's the kind of connection that men find themselves obsessed over, wanting to relive and explore more deeply. It's not about grandiose actions, but about the small, consistent moments of care and connection that turn an encounter into a lasting bond. Confidence is one of the most magnetic traits a woman can possess, and it is precisely this confidence that keeps a man captivated long after the physical intimacy is over. But here's the thing, it's not about the boldness in the bedroom. It's the way she carries herself before, during, and after sex that makes the biggest impact. Confidence, especially when it's embodied in a natural, effortless way, draws men in and makes them obsess over a woman, not just for her physical appearance, but for her sense of self-assuredness. It's the type of energy that makes a lasting impression, one that sticks in a man's mind long after the night is over. First, confidence in a woman is something that shines through in her comfort with herself. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that beauty and body type are the only things that matter, but true confidence goes far beyond that. It's about owning your body, embracing your flaws, and not apologizing for who you are. A woman who is secure in herself doesn't need constant validation. She walks into a room with her head held high and her posture strong. When she's confident in her own skin, she makes it clear to everyone around her, including a man, that she doesn't need anyone to define her worth. That's powerful, and it's that kind of self-assurance that makes men sit up and take notice. When a woman exudes confidence before sex, it sets the tone for everything that happens afterward. She doesn't second-guess herself or hesitate in expressing her desires. She's clear about what she wants and isn't afraid to communicate it. This kind of confidence in the bedroom makes the experience better for both partners. It's not just about pleasing him, it's about owning your own pleasure too. Men are naturally drawn to women who know what they want, who aren't shy about expressing themselves, and who create an environment where both people feel free to explore and enjoy without fear of judgment. Confidence in bed is sexy, it's empowering, and it turns an ordinary sexual encounter into something memorable. But the confidence doesn't end when the physical part is over. It's what happens next that often leaves the strongest impression. A woman who is confident enough to leave the room with the same poise she entered it with, who doesn't retreat into self-doubt or awkwardness, has the ability to make a man obsessed with her. She doesn't need to cling or act desperate for attention. Instead, she leaves the interaction with a sense of grace and ease, as though the experience was just another part of her life, an enjoyable one, but not the defining element of who she is. This kind of calm self-assurance sends a message. I'm here for the connection, but I don't need your approval to feel good about myself. That energy is incredibly attractive, and it makes a man think about her long after she's gone. There's a quiet strength in this type of confidence. When a woman is comfortable in her own skin and doesn't rely on external validation, she becomes irresistible. Men don't just want a woman who's physically beautiful. They want a woman who can command a room without saying a word, who can be present without needing constant reassurance. This kind of confidence is magnetic, and it's something that keeps a man thinking about her, not just in the moments after sex, but for days, weeks, or even months after the encounter. I'll give you one exercise that you can implement to become more confident. This leads to something crucial. A woman who is emotionally secure, who isn't looking for external validation, doesn't create pressure in a relationship. Instead, she's focused on the connection and the emotional bond that forms over time. That's the type of woman who makes a man want to be more than just a casual fling. It's the one who makes him think, I could see this going somewhere. Confidence doesn't demand attention or affirmation. It attracts it naturally, and it's this type of energy, this effortless self-assurance that keeps a man coming back for more. In the end, confidence is not just about how you look or what you do in the bedroom. It's about how you carry yourself in all aspects of life. It's about being so comfortable in who you are that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. When a woman embodies this, she creates an undeniable allure, an energy that pulls a man in and makes him obsess over her. It's this quiet yet powerful presence that keeps a man's mind occupied, thinking about her not just in the immediate aftermath, but for the long haul. A woman who is truly confident, who is at ease with herself, becomes unforgettable because it's a rarity in today's world. Ultimately, it's the combination of emotional depth, connection, small gestures of tenderness, and a confident sense of self that makes a woman unforgettable to a man. After sex, when she's able to maintain that grace and poise, when she remains emotionally available without being clingy, that's when the real magic happens. Men obsess over these women not because of their physicality alone, but because they are a complete package. Someone who is not only beautiful in appearance, but also in spirit. They are the ones who leave a lasting impression, who remain etched in a man's memory, making him eager to experience more of the connection they share. In conclusion, it's the whole experience. The combination of connection, emotional intimacy, small but meaningful gestures, and confidence that shapes how a man feels after sex. A woman who leaves him with the feeling that she's emotionally secure, comfortable in her own skin, and interested in continuing the connection is the one who stays on his mind. It's the power of this balance that creates lasting bonds and keeps a man thinking about her well after the physical act has passed.